Hey everyone, welcome to our very first The Power of Sourcing 2024 webinars. Over the next 10 Thursdays, we're going to dive into the latest and greatest news in sourcing. We've got a bunch of cool talks lined up, and today we're super thrilled to host Balazs Paroczay. Balazs is a global talent sourcing strategist and the founder and the CEO of the Source Code agency. He is a well-known speaker and a thought leader in our field. Welcome, Balazs, to the stage.
Thank you so much, Nelly. Hey, good evening.
Good evening. It's awesome to have you here with us.
Well, thank you. Really appreciate the invite again. I'm excited that what we are going to talk about.
Oh, we are excited as well. Before we dive into the end of LinkedIn X-ray searches, I want to ask something just to get us rolling. Well, of all this fuss about the robots taking over, I'm starting to worry about the future of talent sourcing. Like as every recruiter, each recruiter does. Like, are we looking at a world where robots are creating LinkedIn profiles and like we are trying to impress robots to land a job?
Okay, that's a great question. Let me say two things. One is that, well, there are already probably maybe millions or tens of thousands of fake profiles on LinkedIn. So it's not anything new. Also, during COVID, we experienced that there were some candidates, who applied to jobs who didn't live in that location. And because of COVID, because of the video interview, because of the filters, because of everything, it was almost impossible to decide whether that was the real person or not, Like, I mean, someone sends you a CV, you call a person, someone shows up on the interview, like, how can you really decide whether that's the two same people, right? Now, whether we robot takes sourcing or not, I'm not sourcing. Maybe the job of sorcerers that might be gone away, but sourcing as such will always be needed. I mean, recruitment marketing advertisement will always just attract a portion of people. So yeah, the whole thing that we have to go after these people, we have to talk to them, we have to ask, oh, by the way, are you interested to join whatever? That probably will remain. So I'm not that pessimistic. Actually, I'm super excited.
Love that answer, Balazs. Quick announcement before we dive deeper. On behalf of our team Mature, I'd like to thank Deal for making this webinar series possible. Deal is a leading global compliance and payroll provider that helps businesses to hire anyone anywhere. Their support enables us to bring these valuable discussions to you. And now let's take a brief moment to watch a video from Deal.
Work's gone global, but until now, no HR platform has been able to handle everything for everyone. Some teams have to use up to 16 different tools to make things work. Deal's the future of global HR, and it's the only platform that works for your team wherever they are, whatever their status. Easily handle international hiring, payroll, and HR with one powerful platform. Hire contractors and employees worldwide, even if you don't own an entity. Once you find a candidate, onboard them with a localized contract and a visa if needed. We even provide powerful salary insights so you can be sure your offer's competitive, and we'll automatically collect any necessary compliance documents. Get your team set up fast with built-in background checks, equipment, WeWork passes, and effortless app access. Then manage the entire worker lifecycle through one central HR platform designed with global teams in mind. Plus, handle time off, promotions, and bonuses all in a few clicks. Deal integrates with any tool to help keep your data and workflows synced. You'll get a first-of-its-kind worldview of your entire team's headcount, payroll, and productivity in one place. On payday, consolidate payroll for contractors, international, and local employees. We'll take care of the contractor invoicing, plus employee taxes, benefits, pay slips, and more. Deal has everything you need to run a global team efficiently, and it's the only platform built for everyone and everything, everywhere. Learn how Deal can simplify your global team needs at deal.com.
All right, Balazs, We're all ears and can't wait to hear your insights on the end of LinkedIn X-Ray. The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much. So So LinkedIn X-ray ended, or will be end soon. That's what we assume, and then a new world of sourcing should begin. For those who don't know me, my name is Balazs. I'm a sourcing trainer and a sourcing consultant. So basically, we help companies source better. Um, I have plenty of years of experience. The reason why I'm laughing because I always say that I remember the time when I was young, more younger, and I was hoping that, one day I will have like, 10 years of experience, maybe 15. And now look at that. I have more than 20 and I'm like, oh boy, I spent the whole life at sourcing. All right. So I'm leading Code, which is a sourcing, it's a boutique sourcing consulting company. And the only thing I want to tell you now is that we started to run our LinkedIn newsletters, and we are going to share a lot of tricks and tips and important information. So we will not use that for promotion, to be honest, but we are going to use it as an education platform. So if you want to join us, just subscribe. And yeah, and that's it. And enjoy, and let us know if you have any questions. Now, I want to start this whole story, right? So what is LinkedIn X-ray ending, and is it really a big deal or whatever, right? So you may have read this article, you may have heard about this one. Like 2 weeks ago, Marcel, he heard that LinkedIn may be cutting the access to the public profiles via Google, right? So Google will not be able to index LinkedIn profiles. And I clearly remember that morning when Marcel posted this link, and the entire sourcing industry, we just started to panic, and we just thought that was like a huge emotions in all of us. It was like, oh my god, that's impossible, like what will happen with sourcing? Oh, yes, there was a drama, right? And depending on on the blood system of each sorcerer, we went online, and we started to talk about all of these things. Now, what is really interesting for me is that after the first shock, right, after my first drama period, I started to think that, is it really a big thing? I mean, what sort of impact will this really have on sourcing? I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, LinkedIn X-ray is excellent, but I've been training recruiters live, like live training. I'm teaching them for 5 years now. And I can tell you that probably I didn't meet at least 5 or 10 recruiters from the thousands who really used LinkedIn X-ray. So before we move on, I want to try something. So hopefully we have some people outside. So let me try to ask you this question. Please, it's a question, and I want you to answer. So please go to menti.com, and you have to use these 8 digits, right? So it's 24, 32, 13, and 79. And please try to answer this question, okay? So which of these LinkedIn X-ray searches will not bring valid results for a US-based engineer search? The reason why I'm asking you, because I'm just curious to understand, like what is our current X-ray knowledge within this crowd. So please go to menti.com, use those 8 digits, and just vote. And certainly the voting is fully anonymous, so we will not see if you, voted right or not. New York! So please go to menti.com. Andrew, maybe you can put this menti.com to the chat, because I cannot type to the chat, and then people may find it easier. All right, people, thank you. Go to menti.com. Yes, please. Brilliant. Okay, go there. Yes, good. Go vote. I want to see how many people we have on this webinar. I only see 8 people, but I see so many people saying the country. Come on, people from the country, get to voting. Do this. Okay, cool. 40 people. Okay, cool. Okay, excellent. Lovely. 21 people, 22 people, more. I think we have more. So let me wait a little bit more. 26 people, 28. How many people do we have on this webinar? Not hundreds. Okay, 34. Yeah, please do this, do this, do this. It's really interesting. Which one is incorrect, right? So which will not bring valid results? I'm curious what you say. Ciao, man. Have you voted? Okay, 163 watching. Thank you, Chloe. Well, then it's only 50 people voting. So, you know, that's not even the third of that. Good, 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 good. So if we have over 200 people watching, then I need more of you to vote. Think about this one. Which of these will not bring results? Okay, I will give you like 2 more minutes because it's not easy to talk, when when you do nothing. So let's see if we can hit 70. Okay, 70. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate it. Maybe you can vote 2 times and then, we can push the numbers up. All right, cool. 60, 68. Come on, 200 people. Don't do this with me. I need 2 more. Okay, 69. One more, Vanessa. Just one more. Yay, 72. Okay, lovely. Well, that's really interesting. So the majority of your people, you say, well, actually, you say that search with site www.windows.com/in, this will not bring US-based results. Now, it's really cool. Thank you for voting. I move on to the next slide because I want to show you the truth. The truth is that US is not a country code on LinkedIn. And the reason why I was asking this question, beyond the fact that I'm mean, that was my understanding. We don't really know how to X-ray, to be honest. I mean, all the people I trained thousands in the last years. They didn't really X-ray ever. And when I heard this whole X-ray thing, I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds bad, but why is it that bad? Now, if you want to play one more, let me give you this one, a new one. Okay, so which of these LinkedIn X-ray searches is correct? Ciao, Aaron. Which of these is correct? You cannot search for group membership. You cannot run gender searches. You cannot search tenure represent. You cannot search for email. Please use menti.com. You have to, write the 8 digits and vote, because I'm also curious what you think. Okay. So which one is not correct? Oh, which one is correct? Sorry, which one is correct? Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we can make it 70. I know, because last time, like you were voting like 80 people, so we can do it. Okay, really interesting. Okay, lovely. Bro, I should have asked the question, what was the last time when you were running an X-ray search? Wow, look at that. Wow, interesting, really. Okay. What's that? The goat, huh? All right. Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Okay, really, really interesting. Because let me move on to the next slide. I'll show you. Because from these 4, the only thing that we cannot do with X-ray, okay, you can stop it now. Thank you. Is this, that the group membership is not searchable anymore via X-ray, but all the rest is somehow searchable. So, I'm not blaming you people. I'm just saying that I think, like the reality of sourcing is actually really far from X-ray. And it's just got me thinking, because there was something, because there was a really huge emotion recently. Everyone was talking about this one, and I don't know. I was just the person who felt like, I don't know why all of these people are dancing. I don't hear the music. Maybe it's me. And then I went to LinkedIn and I asked this simple question. I said, hey people, do you pay for LinkedIn or not? Because again, this whole X-ray comes with that mentality, that sourcers, we like these cracking things, we are so cool guys. We don't pay, we just do all of these, like dark web style of things. And I was like, what about you guys? Do you pay for LinkedIn? And 83% of the almost 400 people, they said, yeah, we pay for our companies. And I was like, okay, who's that 17%? And then I checked the 17%, I scraped them, whatever, fine. And I realized it was just hardcore sourcers and leaders, global head of TA. they have a free LinkedIn because they don't search. So I was like, again, is it really a thing? I mean, this whole X-ray. So where I am today at first, of course, yeah, you can use his, him, she, her, DNI. Oh, yeah, so many things, for gender searches. What I was thinking is this one that you may remember. Well, probably many of you are really young, but you could be my children, But 12 years ago, Amy Beth Hale, that time now Amy Beth Green, she was the editor of SourceCon, and she created this image, and people who were around that time, we really loved this image, and we really thought it was valid. That sorcerers always saw sorcerers, like genius people, like Einstein, and you can check, the images in the Matrix. It's really funny, and I think that's where I started to think like this whole X-ray story goes back to 12, like 2010, 2012, maybe 2008. And that was somehow the beginning of modern sourcing. That was somehow how this whole industry, how we started to identify ourselves. That was like a DNA story, like that's in our blood system, like we X-ray LinkedIn because we don't pay for LinkedIn. But hey, people, like, I mean, really, time's passed. I mean, life's changed. And what I realized is that probably this whole LinkedIn X-ray is just the right moment to say that time when we were geeks and weirdos and like strange bugs, maybe that time is passing. I mean, honestly, are we really thinking that we are that detective type of stalkers? I think we are not, to be honest. Are we using all sort of OSINT tools and technologies when we search? No, of course not. Do we when I train recruiters, it took me my most energy to try to inspire them to step outside of LinkedIn and to do some sort of search not on LinkedIn. And what I realized is that sourcing is not anymore that. And that's why probably this whole X-ray story will not have an impact on our life, to be honest. And I think we just have to say it aloud that, that how do you say it in the tale, the king is naked, something like that. So interestingly, sourcing has become a business function. It's just a regular recruiting function. And because of that, the reality of sourcing today is this, I think. That business has understood that sourcing has value, period. I mean, it took 10 years. And that was a bloody 10 years, I can tell you. I mean, I worked so much, I remember so many conversations I had with global head of TAs and, like CEOs and whatsoever, and say, yeah, but is this sourcing? Is it like a spy thing? No, honey, not. It's not a spy thing. It's a proper business function. But hey, people, guys, like good news, we've established it. Now, sourcing is a proper business function. Business understands that they need sourcing because there is a portion of people who will never apply. Excellent. Now, because it's a business function, there are some rules that we have to comply with. They say that you have to contribute to the business. You have to make hires. If you don't make hires, I mean, honestly, we don't need these geeks anymore in the business. You have to be compliant. That's really interesting. We talk about all of these X-rays and OSINT and hacks and whatsoever, but when you go to a corporation, the first thing that you will beg for is access to your Facebook because it's still blocked. So you have to. You have to compliant. You have to be stable because if you are a business function, you have to run your procedures stable, as established as possible. And yeah, you have to provide data intelligence to support decision making. That's the business requirement today, 2024, towers to sourcing. Now, business also understood that we have some requirements. So sourcing needs money. Not a question. 83% of recruiters, they pay for LinkedIn. And you know what? It's not bad. I think it's just understandable. LinkedIn is a business, just like Monster was a business or Indeed is a business. When you go to the shop, you pay for tomato, right? Don't you? Or you steal, fine. So it's that, like we need money, we need budget, and we have to buy tools. Okay. We also need time for execution. We have to have realistic expectations. But it's also really interesting that there is no sourcing without recruiting, and there's no recruiting without sourcing. It's a longer discussion, but interestingly, these two have to play together. And I've seen so many friends who were running a sourcing only business. And for some reasons, these businesses don't really work well. because the way we see recruiting is recruiting and sourcing together. So this is the reality of sourcing. And it's not anymore that, that X-ray whatever. Okay, so I brought you something. The way I like to think about like how to build a function, how to build a sourcing function. What is the blueprint of sourcing nowadays? Now, sourcing has 5 major activities or value points, if you wish. So there's a sourcing strategy. When we build, the strategy to a position or even to a department, and we say, based on our knowledge, based on the data that we have access to, this is what's going to happen. For this position, usually that many people apply. That's how the market looks like. This is the demand, this is the supply data, diversity, whatever. And then we start the search part. So we identify candidates, fine. And then we move on and we do the candidate engagement. Then we screen these candidates, we submit them to the business, right? And then usually, hopefully, we provide the business with some intelligence about the markets and about the candidates. That's the high level. Now, for this high level thing, we need 3 major competencies. We have to use Boolean because okay, I tell you something. There are so many people who say, oh, AI is here, you can stop using Boolean. But it's bullshit. I mean, you use Boolean within your ATS. You will use Boolean still in Indeed. Okay, you use Boolean on, on Google, right? On Bing, whatever you use. So it's still a thing. And I can tell you this, most of the recruiters that I was working with, their number 1 challenge is how to craft a Boolean. That's because that's a logical thing, and not every person has access or has, appetite to these things. Okay, fine. So you have to have Boolean. You have to know web searching, because you use web searching on multiple elements in the whole sourcing story. And AI writes bullshit Boolean. That's the best, right? That's the best. And you know what? And there are some people who copy paste and they use it. Anyway, you also have to learn how to, run ChatGPT prompting. So these 3 are not against each other. Nothing is better than the other. Okay, it's not an order. You have to have all. Okay, fine. I'm moving on. What else do we need? So beyond these 3 major methodologies, if you wish, we have a sourcing channel, right? So we have access to the ATS and CRM. We use LinkedIn, job boards, online tools, like the Facebooks, the Instagrams, whatsoever, and also we have web access. Super. Okay. Then after this one, we have the technology kit, the stack, the tech stack. So in this, new world of sourcing, we can use automation. I think we can use automation mainly for engagement and maybe screening and submission, and less so for searching. I know that let's put it this way. There is a lot of new innovation targeting the search part. Like, how can we automate search? How can we use a piece of technology that will go to LinkedIn and will give me the top 20, LinkedIn profiles? There are all sorts of, ChatGPT or GPT solutions, people GPT whatsoever. They are not yet interesting. I mean, every monkey can find 10 LinkedIn profiles. I mean, there's nothing interesting in that. So, but automation can be really good for engagement, screening and submission. Cool. We use all sorts of, extension sourcing tools, and we have to have reporting and data in place. And under this one, like the sourcing function, you have to have client engagement and client management, which is also your recruiter, your business person, and also your managers. And the thing is that if you think about this blueprint, I mean, this might be obvious, but I can tell you that this is just not obvious for most of the companies that I've met. Because usually what we see is that there's a sort of sourcing 1.0, which is this, which is like recruiters may have some understanding about Boolean. May not. They may use their ATS. They have access to LinkedIn Recruiter, that's fine. And they may have some job boards. And then they may see some data and they have, some sort of client management. This is 1.0. This is what I would say. This is 2000. I don't know, 2000. The bottom row is let me help. Yeah, stakeholder engagement and management. I think now you can see it, Chris. So there's the client part, how we manage and engage with clients, and yeah, that's what we have nowadays. And if I remove X-ray, yeah, I understand that that from this pool, X-ray seems to be a thing. But if you move on, if you think about the next generation of the sourcing companies, like we train quite a few of these ones. The Lenovo team is the global sourcing team at Lenovo. They are brilliant. Because they integrated, web searches. They started to integrate ChatGPT to their whole story. They use sourcing tools. They have extensions. All sorts of sourcing tools that they, implement into their sourcing. So, and as you can see now, it's getting more and more complex. But what we have to achieve, is to bring in market and talent intelligence, because that's the final piece of sourcing. And this is something that I would call this is sourcing 3.0. So instead of crying after LinkedIn X-ray, let's start working on something which is cool and valuable. And I wanted to give you one example, and I cannot yet tell you if that example will go fine or not, but something which is forward thinking, which is ahead of us. So Andrew, can we please switch to the video? This is the, let me say one more. Wait, give me one more second. One more second. Thank you. So Cielo is an RPO company, and they built this. The reason I'm saying, because a long time ago, I was working with them. I was their sourcing VP, and we were thinking a lot, like how what we can do, with sourcing. And I think by now, Cielo has found something extremely exciting, that, all of these components from the blueprint, they certainly somehow, put inside. So now, Andrew, now the stage is yours. Please share the video.
Cielo's source, screen, and schedule aggregates the sourcing of candidates and engages them via a superior candidate experience. It starts with a recruiter scheduling slots when they can speak with candidates. Once the recruiter types in the job title, location, and salary, we immediately present salary information, supply and demand data, as well as D&I insights. Once the recruiter includes the required skills, we show candidates to calibrate the search and train the underlying AI. At this stage, we send the job to our sourcing partners. An AI-driven tool screens, stack ranks, and scores the sourced and qualified candidates. We then send them engagement emails. Once the candidate clicks, they access a mobile-first interface. Here, they screen themselves in. We present the job details, company and salary information right at the start of the journey. If the candidate is still interested, they will choose a suitable time with the recruiter. Everything you have seen so far, we have developed ourselves and is our own intellectual property.
Right. Okay. Let's go back to the slide, because that's the whole point. If I use my blueprint, basically this is what Cielo has built. Really interesting. So they have a recruiter who is responsible for the sourcing strategy, but is supported by AI. The AI is getting data from the ATS and CRM, and can immediately show them the market intelligence. Like, how does the demand look like? How does the supply look like? Whatsoever. So the recruiter by now is knowledgeable enough to give advice to the business, saying, like, for this position, most potentially we will have that many people, on the pool. Probably that many people will apply. That's how much time we will need to wait. All of these things. Now, after this round, if somebody's, if someone is good from the ATS, right, they can immediately send them so they can put them to the engagement cycle. Which is, by the way, done fully automatically by technology. If they need more people, that's the point, where they turn to sourcers. Now, Nelly, back to your question, like, will sourcers' job be eliminated in the future? Maybe. I think that the sourcer, not sourcing, the sourcer's value is still in the research part. I know many people will argue with me because they say, oh, everyone can find a candidate on LinkedIn. True. But still, the search part is not yet automated. Maybe it will be. Maybe 12 months. Maybe in 3 months. It will be done. But at this moment, we still need humans to run a search, to check the long list, to pick the best people, and so on and so on. Now, after the sourcing partners, they bring in candidates to the pool. They start using like only AI-driven automation and technology, and there's no human in this whole story. I mean, there's the candidate who's a human, but nothing from us, from recruiting. And then at the end, the recruiter comes back. And what I would like to really show you is that this is 2024. This is the reality. This is what I think is really exciting. So moving on, how do we get there? I think what's not on the slide is that first is that stop panicking about things which are not important. Honestly, be frank. I don't know, maybe because I'm Hungarian, we are really direct people, we are frank. Maybe we are not frank, but we are direct. So, so understand what is important, what is not important. Because what is important is to build this. That is important. That's what you want to build. And if you are not yet there, if you or your company is sourcing 1.0 or 2.0, you've got to work on this model. Because this brings in time, speed, efficiency, cost saving, everything. That's future. So moving on, think about whether you have the right skills. And the right skills, what I mean is that, I tell you this, for a long time, I was really frustrated why recruiters are only using LinkedIn. Because they're only using LinkedIn, to be honest, let's face it. Maybe some of them may check Indeed or some job boards, but that's it. And then I understood that there's something even worse, which is they are only using LinkedIn, but they don't use LinkedIn to its maximum capability. So the first thing is this, if you ask the question whether you have the right skills in the team. If not, you need a training. And my mantra is that you need a live training. Okay, do you have the right channel portfolio in place? Okay, why this is important? Because you have to think about this. If you have to be present where your candidates are active. If you are a healthcare organization and you provide LinkedIn Recruiter to your recruiters, but they have to hire nurses, honey, why are you doing that? So, if you understand, right? The point. Think about your tech stack. I think this is the most difficult part because usually we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what's available on the market. Like I think that one of the most frustrating questions that we can ask from a talent acquisition leader is that, oh, Susan, what do you want to automate? Because Susan would feel like, I don't know what is possible to, can I just automate the whole and can I just go for a holiday with my husband? That's what I would like to automate. So think about your tech stack. Think about, okay, do you only have, concerning this, do you only have your ATS and you have LinkedIn Recruiter? Nice, 1.0. Think of what else can you have in this whole tech stack, right? And if you don't know, what else is there, to be honest, you have to do your homework. You have to start demoing providers, and that can be time consuming, that can be tiring, but that's the job. Think about what you can automate and try not to listen to, if I got €1 every time and someone was telling me that search is not important anymore and search can be automated and machines will take over search and robots will steal the job of the researcher, I mean, I would be a millionaire by now, but it's still not yet happening. So you can automate, interestingly, easily the engagement part, your email sequence. That must be automated. I mean, I guess many of us are doing it already. Okay, think about reporting. It's amazing that what you can achieve from the moment when you have data in your hands. The moment when you understand that for this position usually that many people apply, and for that position usually no one applies, or usually for this position we have to wait that many days, or the conversion ratio for that position between this step and this step is that percentage. I mean, it's so much intelligence that you can learn from this one. So the first question is that what can you measure in your system? Because for many companies the workflow in the ATS, so when it comes to the workflow, sourcing usually just one step, sourcing. But if it's just one step, then you won't be able to measure it. It's like that. You have to think about these things. If the workflow has sourcing, then you will have one data point. Okay, and yeah, finally, so to think about this. So do you have the right engagement with your business stakeholders? Sourcers should not be weirdos. I mean, I know that we have these stereotypes that sourcers are more introvert people. We like to work in the dark and don't talk to people. It's not always true for all of us, to be honest. So sourcers are capable to do a proper client engagement thing. So yeah, so that's where you have to start. And again, not panic. Now I brought you some logos because some people may want to start this whole journey. So my colleague Vince Shimchak, he was running a really important webinar last year about LinkedIn automation. Now things may have changed over 1 year, that's true, but still, like these players more or less are on the market. So if you want to think about as a very first step, low-hanging fruit, you can think about how you automate like some of your LinkedIn activities. Now there are some rules that you have to pay attention to. Don't take it too hard, like whatsoever. If you need help with this one, we are happy to show you that webinar. And then you can think about yourself. Also, when it comes to engagement automation, there are plenty more tools like these, but these four we know for sure, and we tried and we tested, and they work fine. So that's no brainer that if you have 20 people and you don't want to manually send them email, it's you can automate that whole thing. If a candidate replies, then the automation will stop. If the candidate doesn't reply, then the chain will move on like that. Also think about like your search tools, because what is powerful with some of these tools, like HighReasy, for instance, or like Seekout, and so that they integrate with your ATS, so they can integrate with your ATS. So not only do they have data from the web or from all sorts of sources, but they can also, you can use the search engine, for instance, of HighReasy to search within your ATS. Okay, so that's powerful because they have a really strong search engine. So again, like to think about, like to start this whole journey, you have to go through these questions. Now, I don't have more slides, I guess, and I'm happy if you have any questions. If you need any help, certainly we are more than happy to help you. We are a consultancy, so we work with clients on all of these things, and we help them, like build the resourcing function. And as you can see, we are a proper James Bond team. So yeah, I guess that was it. If you want to join our next webinar, that's the advertisement, No, but we run a webinar about toolkits, like sourcing tools, extensions, productivity tools, whatsoever. That comes on the 6th of March. And I guess that was it. I have no more slides. Let me go back to this blueprint and let me ask you if you have any questions at this stage. I will be more than happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Balazs, for the valuable insights. Let's take a look whether our audience has any questions for you. And in the meantime, I would like to ask you the following question. Well, what do you think in the face of these recent changes in the LinkedIn algorithm? Will LinkedIn survive in the upcoming years?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Yes. Okay. There are just so many thoughts. So first is that will they really block like the public profile? If they block the public profile, they will also eliminate their strong, so when you search for a name, the LinkedIn profile is the first result on Google. That's a really strong position in SEO.
Yes.
If they block it, then they will lose this SEO position, and I'm unsure if they want to really lose that one. Now, whether what is visible from the public profile, that's a different question. But I think they don't want to lose this position. That's a question on that one, or answer on that one. In terms of their strength, so last week I just gave them my passport information because they were asking me to validate myself, like kindly, gently, but constantly pushing me this question, like, do you want to validate yourself? And I was like, I was early morning, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then you understand that you are handing over your passport information, your biometric information to LinkedIn. So will they lose their power? Of course not. I mean, I think it will be just even more so. I think LinkedIn will have even more powerful, because if I was giving them my passport information, probably more and more people will do it. Now, can you imagine a social network that actually owns or or has access to passport information, and they say that they only need it for 14 days, and they say that they delete it after 14 days.
Yeah.
Fine, okay, let's hope this is true. But still, I just find it really exciting, because this is the first moment when when a physical governmental document is being connected to my LinkedIn profile. It's less, things just got more serious. Okay, we have questions. What is a good response rate on LinkedIn? That's depending on the, depending on the country, on the region, on the, like this. So what they say is that, what LinkedIn says is that if you hit around 30%, then it's a good. That 30% only means, as we know, that this is the candidate, like hit the bottom, like they may not even have written you a sentence, they just said not interested. So that's included within the 30%. I heard that in Silicon Valley, West Coast, US, if you have like 5% reply rate, you are a genius. So it really depends on on the domain, on the market, on the country, whatsoever. I would say that if you
The role,
are
right?
not, and the role, exactly, the position, right, the client, yeah. If you are not in a really highly demanding area and your reply rate is around 20-25%, I think that's not too high, to be honest. Okay, there's one more. What would you say is the best program for AI integrations and automation? Ooh, okay. That's a good one. What I would like to say is that AI is everything. AI is not one thing. AI is not, like a package of 5 things. Is basically, we will use AI, and we use AI for a range of tools, right? A range of things. So first you have to think about what you want to change, right? What you want to change in your business, like where do you want to use AI and why? And then you will find the right solution. To be honest, like we started to play with HeyGen, which is a video avatar creation AI. So you just record yourself for 30 seconds, and then HeyGen will get your everything, your voice, your mimics, the way how you use your hands, and they can build like AI videos about you. Like you type what you want to say, and they will create the video where you are saying that, which is crazy, because just think about that, Nelly. Like people can go to the interview, like online interview, and they don't even use themselves. They will, like you give them a question, they
Yeah.
quickly look around and they type, and the AI will reply, and you will not notice the difference. Now that's scary. Okay, so first, so Ryan, first, what do you want to achieve? What is your business need? Where do you want to bring in some change? And then you can look around and you can find the right solution. Okay. Yes, Natasha. So LinkedIn asked for my passport because of fake candidates. Yes, true. Yeah, and I was giving them. I'm a nice person, but I still find it fascinating that there's a first in my life when, I mean, like I always thought about LinkedIn that it's something I can anytime delete and nothing will happen really. I just delete my profile and that's it. But the moment when you give your passport, you feel like, oh, it's just a different play game. Okay. How do we increase response rates in markets like Romania and Thailand? Whoa, okay. So first of all, Thailand and Romania are not the same markets, right? So as we know. What is interesting, with both, that's my experience is that, and I don't know you, okay, so it may not be true for you, but what I see, what I learned over the last years, that in these countries as well, I think if we change the way how we talk to people, if we are not afraid to say goodbye to our cliches, how we talk to people, like we don't have to always say, hi, I came across your profile on LinkedIn and if we just change the way we talk, then the reply rate will immediately change. Usually in more conservative markets, and I think, and now you guys can kill me, but I think Romania, Thailand are more conservative markets. In more conservative markets, we still tend to use like traditional recruiting cliches or solutions. We put the job title in the subject line, put the company name, we say great opportunity, whatever. These things can be changed. And interestingly, if you change tiny things in engagement, the subject line, your call to action, so these things, a few, then your reply rate will immediately grow. Okay, which AI tool would you recommend if you want to automate our candidate journey once they are interested in career opportunities with us? All of them. So if you really want to automate the entire journey, then you have to really think through all the steps. So why all of them? Because yeah. So sorry, I'm just processing your question. So even when you, if I take, let's say, HireVue, okay? So if you take HireVue, they use a range of various technologies, to automate the journey. They use video interview, right? So it can work in a way that a candidate applies to the job. There might be a matching technology, which is checking the CV, like comparing to the job. If there's a certain percentage, like above that certain percentage, then the candidate CV is passed through to the next step, and the next step might be a video interview, right? So, and so you can automate, all of these steps. And then, if they pass the video interview and if they answer the right questions, then you can immediately give them a self-schedule link so they can schedule themselves into an interview with a recruiter or with a manager, right? So depending on what you want to automate, you most probably will use a range of technologies and not just one technology. And that's another really important point. It's a patchwork. It's patchwork. You have to identify the business need, what you want to achieve, and then you have to start looking for providers. We just are working with a client. It's a big taco company, and they are changing the way they want to use technology for retail positions. And we were not able to find one provider who would be able to do all of it. We have to do a patchwork, like these things coming from that provider. Okay. What else? Next one. What do you think about the quality of AI LinkedIn integrated into some of its functions? Right. That's horrible. That's horrible. But it's the same thing that I think about. I mean, it saves time, right? It saves some time. It's proper in a way, like politically correct. But I think you just smell that this is just not true. So my approach with this one and also with ChatGPT is that whenever I ask ChatGPT to write something for me, I always spend some time to make it more tailor-made to my style. I may even make a typo just because I'm not native English. So I think if we just copy paste all of these texts, that won't be nice, and candidates will get used to that, and candidates will immediately be able to spot if something is just like a robot created text. Okay, how do you ensure continuous improvement in your global sourcing processes? Whoa, that's cool. So how do you do this one? Well, you have data. They're saying that you get what you measure. So you get data, you understand where you are, and then you think about where you want to be. We work with an agency, and we've been working with them for 2 years now, and we are constantly monitoring their fill rate. Now, in the agency world, the fill rate is never 100%. You get some positions, you fill some positions, so that's like that. But to increase their fill rate, because that's our goal, we said we want to increase the fill rate from here to there. And to increase the fill rate, we have to also modify some other activities within the recruiting team. So how do you improve continuously? That you have data and you set some goals from the data. You need to set realistic goals, and then you change the whole process. Okay. I feel like, is it true that shorter messages on LinkedIn can help increase your response rate in the US? I also heard that lowercase in email titles also help. Right. So yeah, Andrea, good question. My understanding is that lowercase letters work in the subject line. I use that one, but whenever we train whenever we train an English or an American team, they always say, no, that looks really weird. Now, I guess, with all of these questions, the best answer is that A/B test it, run it, try it, run the same email, but use two subject lines, one with normal capitalization and one with lowercase, and see, like, measure it. Because maybe in your market, maybe with your, domain, maybe with your positions, maybe, normal capitalization will work, right? So that's, and it's not a big thing to A/B test something. So you can try with 50 emails this way, 50 emails that way, and then you see the result. Okay. Jesus.
We have a bunch of questions.
Bunch of questions. I shouldn't have any slides, just like Q&A. Personal approach or creativity in outreach messages. What does work better? What's the difference? Personalization or creativity. Again, approach it, from the candidate perspective. What does the candidate want to, like, what makes the candidate happier? Sometimes, sometimes a totally non-personalized email can make me feel good if it's written in that way, right? Sometimes, like, I just find a recruiter who is super cool, who's who's really funny, and she's got a taste, she's, I don't know, she's got a style, and that engages me immediately. Sometimes, like I remember I received an email from a UK recruiter a long time ago. And he was looking for a sourcing leader for a company, and and he said something like this, like, we both know that there are not that many experienced sourcing leaders like yourself in this domain, and you know that if you were me, you would also contact yourself. And I was like, I was in the seventh paradise, I can tell you. My ego was like swimming in happiness. But then I realized that this sentence probably was sent to every candidate because he was emailing sourcing leaders, right? So is it creativity or is it personalization? You decide. Okay. Now, what is your favorite tool method to reach underrepresented talent? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Woo, Chila. If we talk about diversity, right? How much time do we have, Melly? 7 minutes. Okay.
4 minutes. Yeah.
4 minutes. Okay, that should be enough. So, okay, it's a difficult question, Chila. I always say that if someone would reach me out just because I'm gay, and I don't know if I would be happy. I'm super out of being gay, as you guys probably may know, but if someone would say, like, we want to hire you as a sourcing leader just because you are gay, and we don't have a gay in the leadership team, I would, like, fuck off. Like, come on, this is not the way how you approach this topic. So I don't know if it's, if we have to do any differentiation at the beginning of this host. We search differently, right? We can target these people. That's fine. But do we want to talk to them differently? I don't know. If we can, do we know, like, which patterns will make a female candidate happier than a male? Maybe yes, maybe not. Like, I know Chile is not an answer, right? Because you've got me. It's difficult. I probably. I know. I tell you this. I know. Maybe it's too much. Nelly, you can mute me. But we were watching.
Let me help you with this.
Okay. Go.
Yeah. While my sourcing efforts, I used to address my searches. I used to use this Edda's List webpage. This is a huge portal for like diversity sourcing, but I need to tell you that it's a paid portal. I mean, it's a paid web page, and if you do want to post jobs there or do some sourcing or whatsoever, you just need to pay for that. But Ada's List is used to be a good tool for me for diversity sourcing. Just a small tip from my side. And maybe the last question, yeah.
Maybe Chila, just one more story. So we were watching a series, a Netflix series with my boyfriend, and the two major characters were two black male gay guys. And I asked my boyfriend whether he believes from the movie that these two black men really love each other. And he looked at me and he said, first, let's try to say these two men. And I felt so embarrassed. I was like, what? And this guy is French. And I was like, wait a second, there's a cultural difference. Because for me, when I said, these two black men, and he corrected me and he's right. Like, why do we have, we don't say that, oh, Nelly is a nice white girl. We don't say that. I mean, you don't say I'm a smart white sourcing leader. We don't say that. So Sheila, on your question, do we really have to? Do we really want to anyhow reflect on this one? I don't know. Maybe we don't. I don't know. Okay, last question. Which reports based on experience the best one to influence hiring teams? Right. So I personally love the conversion ratio reports because I like those more than the fixed reports. So fixed reports, what I mean is that, when we measure that how many emails someone sent, how many. I like the conversion because the conversion ratio setting is more dynamic for me. It tells a story about how we convert between steps. Now, okay, let me explain. So if I see that, I searched 100 people and I contacted 95 of them and only 25 came back to me, that's a different conversion rate if I searched 30 people and 25 would came back to me. The second one, 30 people, 25, 100 people, 25. The second one is a much better conversion ratio. It's a much more productive way of sourcing. So instead of telling sourcers that, that you always have to search for 100 people, rather you can just say, I want to see the conversion rates to be at least this number. And at least that number you can measure historically on your data. So you can understand based on your whole operations, what type of conversions usually you run, or you can even segment it by departments, by whatsoever, and then you set some targets for the conversion. I think that helps a lot, but it was also important that you have to. It's really interesting, this whole reporting question. And Nelly, I promise my last sentence. But what I learned over the last years is that every company will need a different insight in a way that not every company is struggling with the same challenges. Some company is really good with attracting people, so they don't really have to source. So for them, sourcing data is not so important. For them, maybe the offer decline, maybe the churn, maybe the whatever is more important. Maybe the hiring manager satisfaction is more important than anything else. So that's why you have to think about that. What do you want to measure? Because you want to measure something which you want to understand, and you want to understand because that may not be working fine, because maybe that's the most important for your business, and you want to understand that one. And then you set KPIs, you set data points, and then you can measure. Woo! I thought that would be just an easy webinar, guys, not 16 million questions, but I love these questions. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much for taking the time and being our guest speaker, Balazs. I hope you will have a wonderful evening, and we're looking forward to having you as our guest during our next and future webinars.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you all. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye. Oh, cheers. Bye-bye.
Well, that's all, I guess, dear audience. And I want to mention that next Thursday, we've got another great speaker lined up. Irina Shamaeva will share her LinkedIn recruiter secrets for effective sourcing. Don't miss out. Remember to stay connected with us on LinkedIn and YouTube. And also don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. All the links are in the descriptions. See you next week. Bye-bye.